the YouTube fishing world's saturated. I'm like, no, it's not saturated. I'm like, there's not that many people doing it, especially in Canada. It's just like, the problem with Instagram and YouTube is you're always comparing yourself to the biggest of the biggest. You know, you're comparing yourselves to the people that have 700,000 followers or 200,000 followers or whatever. And it's like, no matter what the quality of your video is, every time you upload, it's a lot of work.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. We have another exciting episode. This has been a highly requested one. Jay Siemens. If you don't know who he is a man of many hats. So, Jay, maybe I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit, maybe in case there's some people that haven't, tuned into YouTube or haven't heard of some of your other avenues that you've been down in the industry and whatnot. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure, yeah. Man, I grew up in southern Manitoba, and probably like at the age of, I don't even know, probably like 8 or 9, my hometown of Altona, for their Millennium Project, they decided to dig a giant pond right behind my house. That just happened to be where our house was situated. So I remember when I might have been even younger, I must have been like 5 or 6, and I remember seeing these backhoes digging out this pond. And little did I know that pond was going to like fuel my fire for fishing, but I started fishing in my backyard in this pond for carp and bullheads and goldfish and not your typical game species. And I don't know. I always had fads growing up, and fishing was one of those fads that stuck. So yeah, I guided out of high school. I guess I started guiding in high school. Guided for a couple years across Manitoba, northern Saskatchewan, and then filmed with Aaron Weeb, Uncut Angling, for a couple years. Started my own production company in the meantime. Did a lot of corporate work for different outdoors and tourism type agencies, and then probably 4 years ago I started making YouTube videos, and that's kind of consuming most of my time now. Fishing YouTube videos, obviously, because it's a fishing podcast.
Yeah.
And so I now live in Kenora. I married my beautiful wife Sam three years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. So I made the sacrifice to move to Lake of the Woods, which wasn't too tough of a decision. I make that joke all the time, but so anyways, living in Kenora now, trying to make videos when I can, fish as much as possible, and get to be on the Weekend Warrior podcast.
There you go. Newly established podcast. You're almost actually coming up on a year, so it's definitely been that's, I guess, one of the good things to come out of COVID, right? Lots of people have kind of started projects that maybe they didn't think they'd get a chance to start, or that they'd have time to start. So it's definitely been something cool, but definitely it's not about us. So we got you on here. I think I can speak for a lot of us when we say we're pretty happy that I guess that pond got dug right behind your house there, because to fuel that fire. But I think one thing me and Brandon were both kind of interested in is you mentioned guiding up in northern Saskatchewan here. That was at Wollaston, correct?
That was at Wollaston. Yeah, that's where I did the last 4 years of my guiding career, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay. And so what ages were you up there guiding from?
So I did 2 years at a lodge 1 year at a lodge called Eagle Nest, which is on the Winnipeg River in Manitoba. 1 year at Bolton Lake Lodge, which was northern Manitoba, and then 4 years. So I think I was probably 18 to 22. I got it at Wollaston.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I think that's definitely something that lots of people we've talked to, that it's always, even at, like, when I was going to university, there was always like there was some for Wollaston about coming up there, dockhand, eventually a guide, stuff like that. And it's always like, oh, that'd be sweet to do. So it's cool getting to talk to people that have actually taken that stride and done it, right? Because there's a lot of people that think it'd be cool but haven't taken that final step, and you actually did that for quite a few years.
It's the best summer job, like working at a lodge, because like there's a couple things. If you like fishing, there are people you can talk fishing with all the time. I can maybe get about like 15 minutes of fish talk in with Sam every day, and then she's like, okay, that's enough fish talk. But like when you're at the lodge and you're living with all these guides, and they're young and eager, and it's just like you can talk fishing all day. You're spending most of the day in the boat fishing, and then you can't spend your money anywhere. So it's like you talk to your friends about what you do this summer, and it's like, I went to the lake a little bit and played some baseball and spent all my money, and then you come back from the lodge and you've got all these fish pictures and all these cool stories, and you didn't spend any money because you can't really spend any money up there. So I just think it's such a good job. And for someone that wants to like understand fish better, there's nothing better than going fishing every day, no matter what the conditions are. Because if you're just fishing whenever you can, you might cherry pick the nicer days. But when you have to go out 70 days straight, you learn, kind of like fishing tournaments, right? You learn how to catch them, when it's not favorable. So I think that's one of the coolest parts of guiding is just like you get to figure out those fish every day, and yeah, definitely makes you a better angler.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like Josh said, you kind of us as the weekend warriors is kind of, we have our 9 to 5 Monday to Friday kind of thing, and so it is kind of similar in the sense of if you do want to get your 2 days in fishing, it's either, it doesn't matter what the day is like, right?
You gotta go.
You go out there, you gotta go, right? And like Josh said, you it might not be what you did that day, but maybe if you went and observed the lake 2-3 days before and you know what's going on, then you maybe would have had a more successful day if you had an idea of what the winds were doing and stuff like that, right? So I think, like you said, when you're guided, when you got to go 70 days there in the summer or whatever, right? Like you're gonna learn a lot more that way, right?
I have no idea. Did you go to university at all after, or you went directly into guiding?
I went. I mean, I was already guiding in the summer of grade 10. When I started guiding, I didn't even have my drivers. I remember my parents dropping me off at the lodge.
Okay.
And I was just there for the summer, right?
Yeah.
But I guided those couple summers after I graduated, and that kind of coincided close to when Uncut Angling was starting.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, it started towards. I'm trying to think of the timeline of that. 2010, I graduated. 2011, I was a fish bum. I just traveled. I just fished for a year basically. I guided and then I fished for the fall, and then I was going to go back to school after the next guiding year. And Aaron, who I was friends with, we called me up. Actually, sorry, I'm doing a bad job of telling this story. I was fishing on Lake of the Woods, muskie fishing, and Aaron came out for the last day of my trip, which was super random because like typically Aaron isn't the type of guy that just jumps on someone else's fishing trip. Like when you're with Aaron, it's his vessel. He's running the show, which like not in a bad way. It's just like he doesn't like being guided by someone else. He's never like that. He wants to be doing it. So he came out on day 7 of a 7-day muskie trip. I was like, okay, this isn't normal for Aaron. We went fishing, whatever, had a good day. Came back to the cabin, and then he pulled out his laptop and he showed me these episodes of this fishing show. There wasn't a name or anything. And I was like, man, that's really good quality. You're really good on camera. Like we always had toyed around with filming and had gone on past trips and been filming clips, but I didn't know that it was ever like a goal for him. And then he was like, yeah, so I filmed these pilot episodes. There's someone interested in, helping fund this to kick it off. And he's like, do you want to drop out of what I was enrolled in was photography school. He's like, do you want to drop out of school and start filming? So that was like, that muskie trip ended on August 19th. And my school is supposed to start on August 22nd or 23rd. I was enrolled already in photography school. So Aaron pretty much said, you got to drop out of school and start filming Uncut Angling. So it was like, it was a no-brainer for me because before YouTube was big and even Facebook, like there was fishing message boards, and that's where you would learn that you get to meet people in the fishing community. So that's how I met.
Your forums.
Yeah, so there's one called which I think is Manitoba Anglers that I had met Aaron on. So that's how we connected years ago. And I always, idolized him. He was 5-6 years older than me, going on crazy trips. Aaron was off the wall. He was like even more off the wall in his early 20s. But I had him on this pedestal, and I'm like, oh man, it'd be so cool. And then when he had the opportunity like to work with him, I'm like, I got to take this. So I was very close to going to school, but I tell people like dropping out of school is the best decision I ever made, because I knew I could go back to photography school, but you're not going to learn better than going out and doing it every day.
Yeah, being in the field. Yeah, like I don't know how many people that we've talked to, whether it be for the podcast or other relatable topics outside of the podcast, and a lot of people always say that experience is going to take you further. Networking experience is going to take you further than a piece of paper that has your name on it. So I mean, that's a pretty cool story, because like obviously Aaron asked you to help out with Uncut, and so that was that your kind of where you started with the whole cinematography, everything like that? Because like obviously you made a career out of it, and you didn't go to school for it. So how did that all come to be? How did you teach yourself this?
Yeah, I started dabbling in photography when I started guiding. So I was into photography, and I was like, I would do a little bit of video. And then Aaron's like, do you want to film? And I'm like, Aaron, I got like no video experience. But he's like, no, we'll figure it out together. So I mean, it's just thinking back to Aaron did all I think this is something people probably don't know, is Aaron edits all the Uncut Angling episodes. Like at the start, he edited all of that himself. I never edited. I might have edited one out of the 100 episodes sort of thing. But yeah, he did all the editing. I was green to video experience and stuff too, so I was figuring out the cameras and audio stuff as we went. But yeah, it's just learning as you go. I mean, YouTube and a couple like websites were my friend whenever I had a question. But I mean, it was a pretty special age that we started making content in, because, you know, I've talked to Don Lamont, who is like one of the pioneers of doing fishing shows in Manitoba out of Winnipeg. And I talked to him not too long ago, and he's like, man, when we did shows, you needed a camera that was 50 to 100 grand. You needed an editing suite. Like, you were filming onto film, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I can't imagine the legwork and the logistics of doing all that stuff. And then you have to go on TV, right? So it's like, you're paying 100 grand for airtime. You're paying 100 grand for a camera. Like, you're probably $250,000, you know, to make that show. Yeah. So yeah, it's a different time now where you can film a video with your iPhone and upload it that same day, and it costs you nothing, you know, beyond.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Well, look at Justin, the assorted meats man. We had him on earlier, and that's how. Did he not start with his phone?
Oh yeah, he's just filming with his phone. But the thing is, like, people care more about personality and your story more than, you know, fancy camera work. You know, I've seen that time and time again on my videos where I'll put the extra work into some slow-mo and some color grading and drone stuff, and then it's like, man, the video, for the longest time on my YouTube channel, the video that had the most views was how to clean a goose, how to breast a goose. And I remember that day we started filming with my DSLR, the DSLR died, and then we started filming with a GoPro died, and we finished the video filming with my iPhone. If you watch that video, it is by far the worst quality video on my channel, and for the longest time, until maybe last year, it had the most views. And that fried me, because it's just like, it just shows you that you don't need to have incredible quality. People are watching for content because they wanted to know how to clean a goose, more so than, you know, fancy camera work. So that's something I always got to remind myself of when I'm getting worked up about some of those details.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you look at Zach Brown, another former guest, he has a video on his Instagram of how to clean a pike that I'm pretty sure it blew up, and I'm pretty sure it's just filmed out in the bush on a phone. But the content is, lots of people don't know how to clean a pike, and that is universal pretty well anywhere, right? That there's fish, there's some variation of a pike, and people need to know how to clean it, because that's always, you don't want to keep pike, they have bones or whatever, stuff like that, right? So yeah, definitely huge there. And I think I find this episode quite interesting, because it should be coming out this way, at least, that we had Josh on the last one, and I'm quite interested in cooking and stuff like that, especially the wild game side of things. But I could just see it in Brandon's eyes right now. Brandon has the hots for any kind of photo or video stuff, and I know he's always wanted to learn more of that. So it's pretty cool, just some of the stuff that you're talking about that I know a little bit about, but not a ton. But I know Brandon's brain's just probably churning with questions right now regarding that stuff, eh?
Oh, 100% it is. But I mean, like, I've took an interest in it, you know, a couple of years ago, and I kind of was the same thing. Like, I just tried to teach myself, bought a camera that I could afford and whatever. But I mean, obviously, like, I haven't fast tracked it a whole lot, because honestly, I haven't spent a whole lot of time in the editing and color grading and that kind of side of things. But yeah, like, obviously, I remember the first day that you put out, like, your first, like, vlog, and you're kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna start this vlog and yada yada yada. And little did I know that was gonna turn into the fishing channel it did. But like, I was just so fascinated that you didn't have like a degree or, you know, any kind of background schooling, and you know, you were kind of making a career out of it. And I don't know. Oh, aside from like the media side, I guess I had a question of like, when was your like, oh my moment? Like, I should start my own channel and separate a little bit from and separate a little bit from Aaron Weeb.
You know what? I think it came to a point where my media business was getting busier, and Aaron. There was like two sides to it. Aaron is like the most unpredictable person on the face of this earth. Like, I cannot nail him down. Like, if someone can't get a hold of Aaron, I'm typically, aside from calling their family, like one of the people that someone would call, right? Because he's one of my best buddies. And three-quarters of the time, I have no idea where he is. Like, he's just aloof. He just disappears. I'm not worried that he's in trouble until I see him like break through the ice. But I'm not that worried about him. But it's more so he'll just be doing his own thing, fishing by himself, doing whatever. So like that was part of it. Is he always would have a tough time scheduling, be like, hey Jay, we're gonna go film, and then I'd show up at his house and it'd be 8 hours until we'd leave. And I'm not bitter about that. Like that was just part of it. So it was the ongoing joke that like, oh yeah, show up at 6 in the morning and we're gonna leave at noon sort of thing. Yeah. So it was that my media business was growing, and I think he felt a little bit of guilt, bringing me on these trips when I had other stuff, and it was just like, you know what, with how easy self filming is, he's like, he just ended up doing it on his own more. So I was getting busier, and people have asked us, they're like, oh, was there something that caused you guys to stop filming together? And it's like, no, I mean we did 39 hours since, and we still talk all the time. Yeah. It's just that it didn't make sense. Aaron I don't think necessarily wanted or needed a dedicated cameraman because he learned how to film himself. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of what happened there. And then as far as me starting to document stuff, it was just like, it'd be cool to do behind the scenes. And more than anything, I just have an awful memory. I have the worst memory ever. I have friends that can remember every detail from every fishing trip. And for me, it just kind of blurs together. And it's like to have documented memories of not even just fishing trips, anything, any life event that happens. I love having video for that. Photo's cool, but like video's next level. Being able to relive that. Like my grandpa passed away last weekend, 2 weekends ago. And a year before my grandpa passed away, my dad's like, let's sit him down and film an interview. So we filmed an interview. He talked about growing up. He was like 90 years old. He talked for an hour, and we got this super cool interview. And at his funeral last weekend, we played some clips, and it's like, oh man, like photos are cool, but to actually see someone talk and to, see who they were, get a little bit about them. And this isn't necessarily for me sharing my stuff with other people. That's a part of it. But even for me to look back on or to show my kids or just to have these memories with Sam and stuff, it's like, that is my favorite part of YouTube. I mean, there's a lot of favorite parts, but being able to, have that documented is pretty cool, Yeah. I'd love to see, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'd love to see video of, my parents when they were young, right? Or whoever that might be, right? It's cool.
Yeah. Well, because you get to see the facial expression and the emotion, and you get to feel that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I think that's you hit it right on the head there for me. Like, I don't do anything special. All my videos either GoPro on my forehead or on my chest. And it's just like, if it's ice fishing, it's just clips. But that's the biggest thing is I can't remember things to save my life. You could ask my girlfriend; she probably agrees. Like I don't know what it is, but yeah, you're also right cooked. If it's a 7-day trip, you're up early, you're up late, right? Like you're tired, and so that's probably why you don't remember a lot. But then when I come back down here and eventually sit down and go over the clips, like I'm killing myself laughing. It's like, oh, I forgot that happened, or stuff like that, right? So it is cool to put it up, and if people enjoy it and want to watch it, even better, right? But it's cool just to have those memories. Like I decided to kind of just start taking it with me and making a point of having it recording, and I was lucky enough to get my PB walleye this winter on camera, and it's
nice.
Like I would have never
memory.
had that, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And then I can go back and watch it every once in a while and be like, oh yeah, that's what I did, and stuff like that. So I think that would be the biggest part for me, would be just the memories.
Even if you're not making a YouTube channel, there's all sorts of video clips that I pull up, and they're never going to show up on YouTube. They're just old clips, like pre-YouTube or not even part of YouTube, and it's like, man, that's cool. I like having that documented.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Directing a little bit back to like your media company, Thrive Visuals, I think it's called, correct?
Yep.
So you've had the opportunity to work with a lot of big companies, a lot of cool projects and stuff from what I've seen on your YouTube channel or on your websites. Is there? I've always been curious. Is there like one project that you were just like, man, this is so cool, like that I got this opportunity? Like, is there one commercial or one promo video that you're just, wow?
I did a fly fishing film that I filmed at Wollaston, and I always thought about doing like an entry to a fly fishing film festival or some sort of film festival, and kind of the moment was never right, and then the story kind of came together of this Barry and Mary, this brother and sister from Texas that came up to Wollaston. I mean, yeah, you can watch the film, it's on YouTube, but essentially it was like, these were past guests of mine. I've actually been to their ranch in Texas. So they've become family friends. I'm going back to their ranch in February again. So it's like, probably of all the guests I had over the 7 years, I consider these my closest friends from the guests. And it's like, I got to film a story that is a special keepsake for them. And then it also was something that got accepted into the tour. And it it's a cool story to tell when there's like a personal involvement, when you care a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I think it's going to be like they're getting pretty old as well, so I think it's a cool keepsake for their family. But as well for me, it's just I like telling their story because I think it's a unique story. It talks about how fly fishing ties their family together, and some people don't get their stories told necessarily. So it's a good opportunity. I love Wollaston. Wollaston's one of my favorite places on earth. So to be able to do that with some amazing people, and as much as I like making YouTube videos and fishing myself, I get a ton of enjoyment. As that was my main job for a long time, was filming other people, right? So I still love doing that, and that was a fun project.
I'm happy you brought that up because I've watched that film on your channel. I don't know, got to be 5 times. I think it's like the storytelling in it is awesome. Like she is such a character.
Yeah, she's wild. Like, she's spunky.
Yeah. If you haven't watched that on Jay's channel, definitely go check it out. It's awesome. It does a great job of telling their story. But yeah, no, okay, that's cool. I was always curious if there was like one project that you were just like, I can't believe I'm doing this, but that's a great one. What is kind of the timeline for like, do you have like strict schedules for your YouTube videos? Like, I know this is probably a question a lot of people ask you, or
I've
have
wondered
you as like
this for a while.
Yeah, like, do you like plan out a schedule? Like,
I actually have like I think it's been 3 or 4 years that I've started doing more YouTube stuff. Like the goal the entire time has not the entire time, because it always hasn't been clear where exactly I wanted things to go. But now I'm seeing more and more that I want to do just more YouTube and less corporate work. Like if you asked me 2 years ago, I was probably doing 50% corporate jobs, 50% YouTube. Now it's probably 90%, 80% YouTube, and 20% I'm still shooting stuff for companies, whatever. I'm trying to get it so it's 95% YouTube. I'll also always want to shoot some stuff, and sometimes it just makes sense for me to be shooting, product stuff if it's someone that supports my channel already. If it's a company, I'm using their stuff anyways, and I'm out in the field, I may as well create some promo product photo or video for them. Right now I have a couple videos. I filmed some ice fishing videos in March that people don't really care about watching ice fishing videos in March, so I banked them, which is something I've never done before, and I'm like, I'm gonna try to bank these videos. Some of them I wanted to bank, some of them were not by choice. I posted 2 videos the last 2 Mondays. It was a lake trout tour that I did. I filmed those videos right before COVID hit, like the March as COVID was blowing up, and me and Kevin Erickson, Kevin, whatever you want to call him,
Kevin.
Yeah, there you go. Kevin. I remember us sitting in the shack on Clearwater Lake in Manitoba, and we're checking the news as we're fishing, and it's like we're watching COVID blow up as we're ice fishing, and none of this dialogue made the conversation, but we're talking about, I wonder what's going to happen with this COVID thing. And then all of a sudden, like, NBA got canceled, and we're like, okay, this is serious. So we filmed those videos right as it all blew up, and then there was a complete freeze on promoting tourism in Manitoba. Those videos I got the okay to post last week. So I sat on those videos for an entire winter in between. So I filmed them in March, sat on them for all of last year, and then I got the okay last week to post them. So it was an interesting time because Travel Manitoba is one of my biggest partners, huge supporter of the channel, and unfortunately their hands were tied. Like they're like, we can't promote we just can't promote right now, which I totally understand that. So some of those videos I got to post now finally, and then some of the other ones were just ones I had stockpiled. So now I have like videos for the first couple weeks, and then hopefully by the time those videos run out, we have safe ice. But we'll see. Ice is kind of behind this year, so
it's been a warm fall, very warm.
Yeah, I don't really know, I guess, but I think Tourism Sask was also kind of the same with they kind of had a freeze as well, right? And then also where I thought you were going with that was going to say you guys figured, well, we can't post these because people are going to think that we're traveling around, even though people are kind of clueless as to when the actual video was, right? So then
it's so funny.
Upset.
Yeah, like I posted those videos last week, and people are like, you got ice already? I'm like, no. Like, and people will just. People also think that sometimes video, like, when you can do a premiere on YouTube and there's comments and stuff, people think that those are live videos sometimes. And there's like, how is he doing a live video? I'm like, no. That's not a live video. It's just a premiere. But I think it's just, you get some funny comments sometimes. And I don't blame these people. If you don't read the description, you don't know that it's been filmed a year and a half ago. But
Yeah.
it also shows you that media can be so deceiving. Like you can edit.
It can be.
In my last video, I made comments, and this is like a guiding line. People will call a beaver lodge a moose nest. So you'll get these people in your boat that maybe have never been to Canada before, have never been around beaver lodges, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a Canadian moose nest. That's where a moose lays its eggs. And I've started saying that in a couple of videos just to mess with people, just to be funny. And people are like, no, do moose actually lay eggs? I didn't know that. And like there's a commercial years ago about house hippos, and it was just kind of like, it was kind of just like, you need to actually fact check some of your media, and it's it just shows you how like you can edit something or say something and you never know how people are going to take it, right? So
People take.
Sorry, I was gonna say that house hippo was like that was the whole point of that, was to kind of show the effects of advertising, I think, on youth, right?
Yeah.
And so that goes to show, like, I thought house hippos were real. I kind of wondered where they are, right? So same thing, but you hear lots of that from, I guess it'd be lots of American clients up there in Wollaston, right? And stuff. So I guess there's a lot of things that Americans like, oh, I thought Canadians did this. And it's like, well, no, that's just a stereotype that makes no sense about Canadians.
Yeah.
But I can see how people definitely fall for it.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a large audience too, like it's hard to grasp how many people are actually tuning into these videos, right? And from all over the world, different cultures, different perspectives. Like, something you say can be taken 100 different ways.
Absolutely. You got to be careful.
From 100 views.
Yeah, that's what I've learned. Like once you put something on YouTube, it's kind of too late. So I'm pretty careful on that. I know there's varying ends of the spectrum. Justin Jankin maybe being less careful if you wanted to like put things on a scale. But it's an interesting space, and with the internet, if you do something out of line, someone's going to screenshot it right away too. Not that you shouldn't always be in line, but it's just like the internet's a scary place. Like Well,
you could think that you're in line and have no clue that in someone else's head you're out of line, and that's just the nature of it, right?
That's optics. That is optics, and that's what I've learned. It's not. It's what someone else thinks, not necessarily what you think. So it's how someone else is going to view it, and I just try to be careful of that all the time. I'm always shocked when if someone comes up like, yeah, my 4-year-old loves watching your video. Like I would never expect a 4-year-old watching my video. If I had to picture someone watching my video, it'd be like kind of guys your age, like guys that want to watch fishing videos, not a 4-year-old kid. So I mean, I take that to heart, that I need to be careful, because I know like 12-year-old, 13-year-old Jay was pretty sensitive to what I was a conservative, very sensitive kid, and I was cautious of stuff, and I wouldn't want to put someone in a weird position if they're watching my videos and like they have to vet it before their kids can watch it, right? So
I mean, it gets you 2 views, but
if you want the sensationalized views,
no, I think that's a big thing, and it's definitely everyone kind of knows their audience, right? Or somewhat knows their audience lots of the time, so it's kind of you got to play into that, and you do got to think it's, as fishing grows, which is awesome, it's also getting much younger, and it's awesome to see, but you also have to realize that lots of times that's who's especially more tech savvy than anyone else in watching those videos. Oh, and just sometimes those crazy comments you get on videos and photos and Instagram, whatever, it's like they're like 10-year-old kids that just don't even know what they're typing. And and it's just like, it's easy to get worked up about some of that stuff. It's like, no, it's probably a 10-year-old kid that doesn't even realize what he's saying is hurtful. He's just being a troll online, right? He's just having fun. So it's like, like when your first TikTok video down south there blew up, right? When you first joined TikTok, that you're taking like a YouTube demographic and probably making it even younger. So it's like, I'm sure you see lots of that on there.
Yeah, totally. TikTok's definitely a younger crowd.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
you go, bro.
I was just gonna say, because he had mentioned that you're transitioning more, you're focusing more on the YouTube side of things, and kind of you're still doing corporate work, but a little more on the back burner. What's the main like goal with that? Like, what were you just like, I need to continue to grow my channel, and this is going to take 95% of my effort to do so? Or what's kind of I know you said you don't really have a goal, but you're
Yeah.
obviously focusing on it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that the corporate work will always be there, but this YouTube thing, who knows how long it's going to last? Maybe it'll turn into something else. Maybe a new platform will show up, whatever. YouTube's phenomenal right now. Like, it is the best platform for paying creators back. There's no platform like it in the world, right? So I think it's going to just keep getting more and more and more competitive. So I would never want to look back in 5 or 10 years and be like, what if I would have gone a little bit harder, right? I'm very happy with I am living my dream right now. I can't imagine, I'm just so happy, so blessed. And the thing is, like, I never want to just settle for that, and I want to see what is possible, right? So if that was me doing 90% or 80% the last couple of years, I want to see what happens if I do 95 or 100. And I can also tell when I do a project, like, the beauty of YouTube is I can make it as long as I want. I can post it whenever I want. I can say whatever I want to say. Nobody censors it. Unless someone's sponsoring the video, unless there's like a specific video sponsor, I don't have to check it with anybody, right? Mm-hmm. Corporate stuff. I have videos that go back and forth 6 times making revisions, and that drains the life out of me. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, even if maybe the corporate jobs would make more money, YouTube, I just am so passionate about, and I don't feel as burnt out. So it's like, if I wanted to make as much money as possible, I'd probably be shooting weddings every single weekend. Because that's where the money is in photography, right? If you talk to photographers, it's like, if you want to make quick money, you shoot weddings. And I shot a lot of weddings and love shooting weddings. But, like, I love making fishing videos, and I've realized that there isn't a correlation to money and happiness, which is so cliche. But, like, I have so much more joy documenting these trips with my buddies, being able to film a fishing video with my dad. Like, it's cool now that I get to take my dad fishing and film it and call it work. Like, that's, you know, I'm very thankful.
I love the videos that your dad's in. They're awesome.
I need to get my dad a 41-inch pike. The last time he didn't get a 41 when we did a trip up north, and that's been like his goal, to get your Manitoba Master Angler pike. So he just retired, or like is semi-retired. So like this winter, it's gonna happen. I don't know. I'll probably kill him in the process, but we're gonna get him a big pike. That's the goal.
You're gonna put him to work.
Yeah.
No,
that's awesome. You'll have to have a dad cam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you could have the dad cam, Sam cam, Judy cam.
All of it.
Oh, well, even like, so Brooklyn, my fiance, like, if you drop a video and I tune in, and she'll recognize your voice, and she'll be like, "Is Sam in this one?" I'll be like, "I don't think so." She's like, "Okay, I'm not gonna."
Then she doesn't care. Sam's the real. Sam's the star of the channel. We get that. That's.
Oh, that Sam cam. Yeah, that was what a cool idea.
It's funny. It's just so funny that people have gravitated to the Sam cam. For you guys that aren't familiar with the Sam cam, it's literally a chest mount GoPro on my wife Sam, and my editor Nick named it the Sam cam, or maybe Sam and I did. I don't even remember. We called it. I think Sam called it the Sam cam, but we called it the Sam cam. It's the same angle that every YouTuber has been using forever. And editor Nick made a jingle, and people should talk about the Sam cam all the time. And I'm just like, I think it's hilarious, and I love that people are getting into it. And like, Sam gets messages from people. I get messages too, and like, hey, when you bring Sam in your videos, it gets my fiance, girlfriend, whoever to come out. And I think that's amazing.
I was just gonna say that, like, because it brings in obviously it's catchy. The jingle's catchy, but it brings in like a new demographic to your videos, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm watching that video, then all of a sudden Sam Cam, then Brooke sits down. Now you got somebody else interested in your video. Maybe Brooke's gonna create a new YouTube account. She's gonna subscribe to your channel. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I think it's relatable. I think it makes it relatable for people. And Sam, I think something that Sam has said time and time again is like, she's not a hardcore angler. She never claims to be a hardcore angler, and I think that is helpful, because she's just coming along. She always makes jokes about her being bad at fishing. She's come a long way, and I think she's a great angler. But she'll always make fun of herself, and she'll hashtag girls that are mediocre at fishing, because she's like, I'm just coming along. Like, Jay just tells me where to cast, and I cast, and she outfishes me a lot of the time. But no, I think it's good, and I think we can all learn from, learn how to take our significant other fishing, because like, it's something I've learned as well, is like, fishing with Sam is different than fishing with the boys. And I think that's important. If you want your significant other to come fishing, and this could be the wife taking the husband fishing. Maybe the wife's hardcore. It doesn't always have to be the guy taking the girl, but like, you know, Sam doesn't want to go out for a 12-hour day, and she doesn't want to necessarily go explore. That's the biggest thing, is when I take Sam exploring to a new lake, I'm like, yeah, I've never been here before, and then I spend all day driving around staring at the live scope. Yeah, that's not really a fun day for her. No. You know, she'd rather have a little bit of action, which I understand. I'm fine getting skunked. But I understand that she isn't, so.
Yeah. No, it brings such a relatable and authentic feel to your videos, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, like, actually, maybe we'll have to get Sam on for an episode.
Yeah, there you go.
The road here. Yeah. We'll have to get her on and get her perspective from Jay's chat.
That was tough at the start of our relationship. That was like, she wasn't super pumped on being in videos, and there's still times where it's just great to go fishing without cameras, because cameras, no matter what the trip is, it always adds an added level of stress. So I still appreciate the times where it's just the two of us without cameras. But she appreciates looking back on the videos. But like, you think about some of those trips, and it's like the tense times are often edited out, you know, where things aren't going right, because that happens. But I mean, that's like anything. Even the best day on the water, there's still, you know, things that go wrong and camera gear that fails, but it's all part of the challenge, right?
I think the thing you mentioned there with the Samcam being just your generic chest mount that pretty well every fisherman uses on YouTube that has a video, right? I think that's kind of a cool transition into the catch and cook, because that is something that's been huge on YouTube for a couple of years now, and then you guys are able to take that name, and that's like a huge, like, I wanted to call it like a marketing hack, basically.
We might get sued yet, awesome. So who knows? We might all of a sudden have to rebrand in like 3 years and have a major lawsuit. I think Josh talked about it in your last podcast, but yeah, we did a lot of searching online and could not find a product called Catch and Cook, which was shocking to us. But it was like 3 years ago. We're sitting in a nice shack in Manitoba, and Josh was cooking some food for me. I'm like, we should do a fish batter company together. So.
Yeah. You know, it's cool to see that, because it's definitely something that's obviously taken for sure around here by storm, and seemingly anywhere else, because it's always it's out of stock. It's just people buy it, right? And people are loving it. Clearly, I'm sure you heard I had to admit that I haven't tried it yet because it's been sold out. Brandon,
I think Josh sent you some. I think I saw on the website there's a package headed to you guys. I don't know if it's gotten there yet, but.
Okay, well, yeah, I asked Brandon, I was like, did you get it? Must. I'll share with you, Brandon.
It probably isn't there yet, but I did see that I think something was mailed to you guys.
Yeah.
No, because Logan texted me today. He's like, hey, did you get an email, something shipped from Ontario? I'm like, no, I didn't get an email. He's like, I have no idea what's coming from Ontario.
Do you guys live close together?
We're not far apart.
Yeah, we're not
It's
far
probably
apart.
just all getting shipped to you, Logan.
Okay, well, we'll
Perfect.
see how Brandon treats me for the
sense.
next couple weeks.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
No, that's what I thought it was.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so? You didn't tell me.
I didn't want to get your hopes up, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so in Saskatchewan here, like, obviously there's a lot of species around, but let's say one of the most favorable is walleye.
Yeah.
You know, for a lot of the guys that listen or girls, they're mostly going to be targeting some walleye here, early ice. You know, as we transition to hard water, do you have any early ice tips for walleye guys and girls?
Oh man, early ice tips. I think people are just, people love
obviously safety.
Safety is big. Yeah, like let's just pretend you're on safe ice. It's just funny how many times I'll be on a spot and I'll see people. I'm not good at getting up early. I'm not going to pretend I'm good at getting up early. That's why I love November, because the days are so short that I can, like, you know, get there for sunrise and sunset and feel like I did a good day.
Put in a shift.
But there's so many times where, like, people pack up 45 minutes before dark, and then as soon as they leave, I'll catch my biggest fish of the day, or the fishing will turn on, right? I can just think of so many scenarios where that last hour just made the day, right? So it's like, plan your days around it. Like, even when I'm working in the office, it's like I'll edit till 1 o'clock and then I'll go fish from 2 until 5, because I know that's my best chance at catching fish anyways, right? So it's like, if you can only fish for a couple hours, stack the odds in your favor rather than fishing from 10 till 2 and missing both feeding windows, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. And then also, people don't take advantage of their second lines. Like, if you can use a second line, have your second line out.
Yep.
You know, so I think those are really like two simple tips that will, you know, they'll catch you more fish.
Yeah, no, I think the second line's a huge one, right? Lots of people are like, I don't want to bother with that, setting it up, and like you mentioned the lake trout tour there. The first thing you guys did was put in your set lines.
Yeah.
Before you, as lots of us know, that go set up a whole house and move in 2 or 3 times in different spots in a day, right? It's a lot of work, but you get those set lines in. That's another 15 minutes of baits in the water that could end up with a fish.
Well, and even the other part of that is like there's times like crappie fishing, for example, when you're fishing for crappies, like you're jigging one rod and it's active and you're moving around. There's times where I've put a tip up out for pike in a spot that I'm not thinking is necessarily a pike. It's not a spot I'd go to my way to target pike, but you catch a 40-inch pike on the crappie base, and the big pike are sometimes hanging around the crappies, but it's like it always pays to bring a tip up along because it can make your day. You know, the crappies are biting and you catch this big pike, or, you know, you're fishing for walleye and you put a bait off to the edge and you catch a lake trout for, you know, off the edge of the reef, right? So there's so many times where it's just like that surprise fish can make the day for you, even if that's what you're not targeting, right? So
yeah, and how hard is it to bring a tip up, right? Like they're so compact now and everything like that. No matter if it's your one that fits in the bottom of a 5-gallon pail or it's one of your like T-bone kind of ones, right? Like it's so easy to do, and why not bring out smelt or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And there you go.
Totally.
Perfect. Okay, so I mean, I'm going to call you an influencer in the fishing industry. I don't know if you like that term or not, but
call me whatever you want.
Just like Josh doesn't like being called a chef.
Yeah, Josh doesn't like being called a chef. But yet you guys put chef on the catch and cook bag, so it's fine. But okay, so there's obviously a lot of, you know, young kids coming up, you know, younger generations getting involved in fishing, YouTube, social media, everything like that. That, you know, obviously like look to you, idolize you, your channel, etc. Is there anybody that you had like that was kind of your role model growing up when you started taking a real liking to fishing?
Oh, I have like so many in fisherman DVDs. I have just sets and sets of fisherman DVDs, and more so like the Doug Stange era more than the Al Linder era is when I watched just with my age. But like Al Linder's the man, like without a doubt. Doug Stange's right there in my opinion too. Like I always loved in fishermen because they targeted everything, and I never was a fan of the shows that just bass fished or just whatever. I wanted the variety, and maybe that's what I try to model after too, like to maybe an in fisherman sort of thing, is just fishing for a bit of everything and showing the variety in fishing. So yeah, Doug Stange and Fisherman, those guys have just been doing it, and they're legends in the sport, and I love watching their stuff. I still fire up the DVDs every once in a while, and it's like, man, this stuff's good.
Yeah. You still have a DVD player?
We do, yeah.
That's not a bad thing. We still have a VCR player downstairs, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I have a VHS somewhere. I don't know if I have a DVD player. Isn't that a crazy thought though?
Oh yeah.
Man, growing up with DVDs and VHSs, and now kids are selling NFTs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 4-year-olds are selling NFTs.
But yeah, no, I don't know, Logan, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on? Like we mentioned, Jay, we do have some Q&A from some of our followers on social media. There's a few, so we're probably not going to get through all of them. But yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on, Logan?
Obviously there'd be a ton of things, but
well,
it's also 10 o'clock for Jay right now.
No, it's fine.
No,
I'm way better at staying up late than getting up early, so it doesn't this could go till 2 a.m, and that's the beauty of setting my schedule. As you see, there won't be too many videos where I'm fishing at sunrise. It's more of a sunset thing when I'm filming
or staying overnight.
Yeah.
No, I think that's the thing, and it is a lot easier to stay up. Like when we record with Gord Pizer, we sat down, we finished recording, and we talked for, I don't even know, we already talked for 2 hours in the interview. Yeah. And then he's like, I'm just going to be rigging rods kind of thing. And when we did Tim Jenny, was it Tim that went and got a coffee and came back to us?
I think it was Gord that got a coffee. We sat down for like another hour and a half and talked. And it's, you can definitely get on a little bit of a rampage. But okay, well, one of the questions I had, so obviously like this episode is probably going to drop after the Manitoba Ice Fishing Show.
Yep.
But obviously that is coming up quick here. Lots of hype around that, new products. Like I mentioned, ice is, maybe a month away, who knows? Is there anything that you're really looking forward to this ice fishing season from a product standpoint? Whether that's, electronics or, anything from...
If you can get it.
Shelters.
If you can get it.
That's the thing.
Yeah. I want to do a on-ice comparison with Mega Live, Active Target, and Live Scope. Because people have been waiting for Mega Live forever. And that's just the question that I'm hearing popping up so much. So it's like, I want to give an unbiased review. So that's kind of one of my next plans. Once there's ice, I'd like to do that video and show all three side by side. Last year I did Active Target side by side with Garmin. And I think it's just important for people to see those things, because it's easy when you see it from one perspective to be sold one way or the other. But I think it's just, that's something I think is going to be interesting. Other than that, I'm thinking gear-wise. The gear's just so good these days. Like I think ice camping is just going to keep pushing more and more. I think it's going to become even more popular every year. It seems like it's such a hot thing that people are getting into, and I think it's awesome. Like you said, that's the only way I'll be fishing in the morning is if I'm sleeping in my shack and the bells go off to wake me up in the morning. And so that's why I love ice camping. I think ice camping is going to be big this winter, as it always is.
Fun.
And people refining and people taking it to the next level. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to do a lot of catch and cooks on the ice this winter, and
no marketing intended there.
No marketing at all. No.
I think when you asked me, Brian, there if there's anything, I guess it is still kind of into the Q&A section, but I guess just alluding to the hoodie that you're currently wearing. I myself have been a huge consumer of all the MeatEater content for a long time. I really enjoyed DOS Boat season 1. Obviously you are on season 2 there, right? So I think, was that season 2 or is that season 3 already?
Yeah,
season 3. Okay, yeah, sorry. So I've watched all 3 of those now, and I see that you had, was it today, a little tease of something on your story there?
Yep. It's funny, like my wife Sam was like she's a huge MeatEater fan. She got into it, and I was like, oh, there's a show called MeatEater, and we started watching on Netflix, and she just binged watched all the episodes. She's watched more than me probably, so she got really into MeatEater. So it's something cool, because like I didn't expect her wanting to watch hunting shows, but they do such a good job of explaining hunting to to their audience, right? So we got into watching MeatEater together, and then this summer I got an email and it said it's from MeatEater, and I'm just like, okay, it's probably spam or something, right? And it's like, oh no, we're looking to build our fishing side of things, and I mean, if you guys have watched MeatEater, hunting is their focus, right? Stephen Ornella can fish, but he's a hunter. That's his true passion, right? So they're trying to build out their fishing side. They said, hey, we'd like to get you involved, with DOS Boats. I went down to the States, but then as well, they're like, we'd love for you to film a little mini series. Right now, not Netflix. MeatEater's doing a lot of mini series on their YouTube channel. So they're bringing in more outside content contributors and doing there was one called B-Side Fishing, Joe Cermelli, who does the Bent podcast. So he's done B-Side Fishing. There's been 1 season, maybe 2. And they brought in, I forget what her name is, Pruitt, another cooking one recently. So anyways, they're just building out. They're building out, I think their sectors now are obviously, hunting, waterfowl is going to be a specific sector, culinary, and then fish. So they're trying to bring in more fishing content type people. And they said, do you want to do a mini series? So that's something that I started filming this summer. And part of the reason why I probably put out, a little bit less this summer. But, I mean, I was a huge MeatEater fan, and just to be, a part of the brand and see where this goes, I thought, you know what, I'd love to produce a series. So I kind of cherry-picked some of my favorite ideas from the summer, some of my, top video ideas. I'm like, instead of posting these on my channel, we're going to post them on MeatEater. So I just got the okay today that the season's going to start dropping December 3rd. It'll be one every week starting December 3rd, ending December 24th. There's 4 episodes, and it sounds like there's probably going to be a season 2 getting filmed. So season 2, I'll probably start filming some ice fishing stuff. So I need to brainstorm some ideas, and it'll just be cool to bring fishing to a different audience, right? Because that's, I think, a very different audience on MeatEater. Maybe not very different. There's probably some crossover, but just, we'll see what happens there. I mean, I think MeatEater's done really good things. Obviously, MeatEater and Stephen Ornella being on the Joe Rogan podcast has, huge, I think, helped hunting as a whole. Yeah. And who knows? Yeah, I think we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for the episodes to drop. There's some some pretty fun stuff we did this summer. One of the videos we did was we went scuba diving on Lake of the Woods, finding snagged and lost fishing lures, and then we went fishing with those lures. So
that's a MeatEater thing right there.
Yeah. So I won't go too much more into detail, but it's got a good ending, I think. So probably one of the highlights of my summer. So that'll be dropping in December. So I'm excited for that because I've been sitting on those videos for a while and put a lot of work into them. So we'll see how that goes.
That's cool to get an insight to that because Josh also kind of gave us an insight into his series that he's been working on.
Yeah.
Well.
His stuff's gonna be great.
Yeah, and he actually sent us the first episode and the trailer, and I was like, oh my goodness, like that's like
the production level's unbelievable. Yeah.
I said it was like MeatEater on steroids, basically, like with like the biggest dose of steroids you could get, like video wise and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And Josh obviously loves the food so much, but yeah, I think I like that idea that you said there, the one episode with the fish, finding the fishing hooks. That's basically like the fishing tackle version of DOS boat for the most part, right? So no, that's something I was curious about because I'd kind of seen that there's some more things going on. I think you were on the Bent podcast, correct?
Yeah.
As well.
Yep.
Yeah. So just seeing that stuff, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool, and especially to get more of some Canadian content as well. And I think, like you said, it is pretty good crossover. The one thing I've always kind of heard that people say is not all fishermen hunt, but usually for the most part, all hunters are fishermen at some point, right? So it kind of seems to be a good crossover there. So I think that should be really neat, and just to get, like you said, being a fan of them and getting a chance to work with them, that's just another dream, right?
It's funny because the first thing somebody asks is like, oh, so you were filming with Steven Ornella? I'm like, well, no, like MeatEater's a lot big. Like MeatEater's like 100 employees. So it's like, no, I've never met Steve. I've never talked to Steve. There's a chance that I'm going to ice fish with Steve this winter. If it actually happens, then that's great. I don't want to hold my breath, right? But I think that'd be cool. I think he's so interesting to listen to, and I think just fishing with him would be pretty cool. He's got some stories to tell. So yeah, just taking that as it comes, and but yeah, MeatEater's growing fast. They're kind of a beast in the media world right now, and their stats are unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is Brandon had the thing of us in the top 10 back with Wilderness again in the Wilderness podcast. And you look and 5 of the top 10 are all MeatEater productions. And it's like, that just goes to show what, like you said, what kind of a beast they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how many podcasts do they have? They have 10 podcasts?
10 or 12. They have a lot.
That's a lot of work.
I can't even keep track of it, but yeah, they have a lot, and they're always up in the rankings too, whether that's in Canada or the US. So
and it's weekly too, the main one.
Yeah, that's a big commitment.
Yeah, especially for all the stuff they do. But I think we should actually get into some viewer questions here. We should stop hogging the question space here, Brandon. But
no, this is good. So, hit me with some hard ones.
So you don't want Zach's questions then?
I would like some of Zach's questions if they're appropriate.
No, they're pretty PG.
Yeah, you vetted
they're
them.
PG. They're just like, some of them are just ridiculous though, so we won't ask all of them. But I guess kind of sticking with my question from earlier about like ice fishing and early ice, just because that is around the corner, and kind of when this episode drops, it'll be a few weeks out. This comes from TJ Reeve. He says, what is Jay's favorite species to target through ice in the different stages of the season? Say early, mid, and late. What is your favorite species to chase?
I think early ice, most of the time it's stock trout, because stock trout are often smaller lakes. Not always the shallowest lakes, but I feel like,
freeze over quicker.
Yeah, they freeze over quicker because they're small, and some of them are at higher elevations. So I feel like early ice, stock trout is a great option. They seem pretty active. I feel like they can slow down a little bit midwinter. So yeah, I would say early ice, definitely doing the stock trout thing. As you move to midwinter, I'd probably put more of a focus on walleye and crappies, and then later in the year, then it's lake trout and big pike. That's kind of what I associate March, April with is doing. That's kind of when a lot of those bigger lakes are a little easier to travel. If you go to northern Manitoba, it's the ice melts or the snow melts off the ice, and you can get around to a lot of those awesome big pike and big lake trout fisheries. So that's kind of what it looks like. But then within the winter, obviously there's always exceptions to that. But I think if I were to guess, I'll probably start off this winter doing stock trout. And then, Lake of the Woods was just unbelievable last winter. There was so little snow, you could drive everywhere. And just for walleye fishing, I spent so much time on Lake of the Woods because there was no reason to go anywhere else. It's like, I could go explore, but I've got one of the best walleye lakes behind my house, and I can drive on via the ice road. So I could get 20 miles down the lake in my truck, have the shack in the back, don't have to mess around with the snowmobile. So I got kind of spoiled that way.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. I think I might be overthinking this name. So there's two variations that I've come up with in my head. We either got real toned or real to Ned, because Ned rig, right? That's what I'm thinking. It's probably real toned.
I think
that's what I'm thinking.
Well, look at his picture. Is he like? Does he have nice physique? Does he hit the gym?
It's a black outline of a fish.
Yeah, that's tough.
No.
See if he has any gym selfies.
Yeah. They are asking if you could kind of talk a little bit more about the tagging program from one of your latest videos. There.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did a tagging video with Philoma Marina on West Hawk Lake in eastern Manitoba on the Whiteshell Park. And that one was a little more strict with the tagging, and I was just kind of coming along to help catch the fish. And then Dryden Chamber of Commerce obviously saw that video and wanted to do a similar contest. These tagging contests have happened over the years, and they pretty much got the okay from MNR. They said, yeah, as long as you're following slots and everything, you can do the tagging. So they just gave me the tagging gun and said, okay, go tag some fish. So it was pretty cool to have that responsibility. And I think it's a great draw. So basically we got 6 tags. One tag was worth $5,000. The other 5 tags are worth $1,000. We tagged crappies, we tagged bass, we tagged walleye, released them back into the Wabigoon chain of lakes. And if you're fishing that lake, you buy a $20 pass. And if you catch one of those tagged fish, you get that money. So it's pretty good. Like, I think the worst feeling ever would be if you're fishing Wabigoon, you catch a $5,000 walleye and you didn't spend the $20. You know?
Is it just a one-time $20 fee?
It's one time, like the $20 will last for the year.
Right.
And then the next year you'd have to spend another $20. But the thing is, those tagged fish, they're going to keep doing the contest every year. So
there'll be more and more.
Yeah,
they're going to tag more fish.
They said probably I'll come back next year and tag some more. So I think it's a great way, because like I like fishing tournaments, but I don't consider myself a diehard tournament angler. But if I'm going to fish Wabigoon anyways, it gives me that little added excitement. It's like you'd be silly not to spend the extra $20 and have that
100%.
chance. Or if I'm picking between lakes, if I'm in the Whiteshell and I have to pick between fishing West Hawk or Falcon, and I know Falcon has 20 tagged fish swimming around worth $1,000 each, I'd probably pick Falcon based off of that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of why the Chamber of Commerce is doing it and Falcon's doing it. It's to bring people to their lake, add a fun, exciting thing, and it gets people talking, right? So
yeah, I think that's a super cool concept.
Yeah, no, that just drives traffic to the area, right?
Yeah.
Like, and gets more people involved. And I think if you have that added thing, like we talked about that with Saskatchewan now has a master angler program, but when I got to participate in Manitoba before they had it, like that was just another added cool thing. Like you want to go and catch that fifth master angler of that species.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So you try it even harder. So
the master program, Manitoba's done such good things with that master angler program, and it got me to visit all sorts of lakes I would have never. I mean, fishing in general has shown me other parts and corners of the province I never would have visited, but the master angler program too, just in general, it's like I'm all of a sudden chasing white bass on some random river, some tributary off Lake Winnipeg, right? And chasing sunfish and just stuff that I normally wouldn't plan a trip around, right? So yeah, I think all those master angler programs are great. I know, I saw that Saskatchewan got one, Ontario's had one for a long time, Manitoba has probably the best established one. They've been doing it forever, but yeah, I think it's great. I think every province should have one.
No, for sure.
Yeah, Manitoba's is kind of the beast of all the
master
angler program. Yeah, I was on the website the other day, and like just everything from the website to the app and everything is just so well done.
It's well done,
so,
yeah.
This one's not fishing related. I might just ask because I'm curious myself. Gills and Grills YXE wants to know what is your regimen to keeping those pearly whites?
My parents got me. Actually, the braces didn't even help. I don't know. And Sam gives me a hard time about not brushing enough. So I don't even know what the answer is. Like I don't.
Oh.
I don't know. I drink coffee. I brush my teeth sometimes once a day. That's funny. Zach always makes comments about my white teeth, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Zach makes comments about everything.
Oh yeah, Zach likes to just turn everything into a joke.
Oh, I missed the last part. They asked if you have a Crest sponsorship.
A Crest. You know what? I used whitening strips when I was like 18. I used whitening strips for like a couple months. I don't know if you guys have ever used whitening
work?
strips before. They're good, but
They're
your
kind of
teeth,
gross.
they make your teeth sensitive afterwards. And the one time I fell asleep with these whitening strips on, they're only supposed to stay on your teeth for like half an hour. I fell asleep, and hours later I peeled them off, and it hurt to eat, it hurt to drink. It was. I haven't used whitening strips since.
No.
But
Yeah.
Ooh.
I used them back in the day. I hated the feeling of them. They were awful.
yeah.
Once
But,
again,
yeah,
have not
okay.
tried them.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's not fishing related, but I was curious.
That's funny.
I was thinking of maybe doing like a rapid fire Zach thing, but we'll maybe leave that for a bit and get to some of the fishing ones. I guess who do we want here? I can see what you go through with your stories here when you gotta decide what questions to ask. This one, I guess, this one comes from the Multi-Species Madness page, but it's Shayna Hamilton, who I believe you've met before.
Yeah, Shayna's great. She was out at the 39 Hours finale, and she's been a big supporter.
Yeah, so she was actually our first guest. Been lucky enough to get to know her over the last couple of years, and got to do some tagging with her when she was still with the U of R, so that was pretty cool. But she was asking, do you have like a dream partnership of a company that you currently don't already work with, or is there like some company out there that you're like, this would be sweet, or like a lodge or something like that?
Oh man, that's a great question. Okay, let me come back to that one. I'm gonna think about that one, but like, yeah, that's a big question. That's a really.
Shayna's probably fist pumping right now that she stumped you. Okay, well, this will be an easier one.
Oh, wait, I know what Sam's answer would be. Sam's answer would be McDonald's sponsorship, because Sam loves McDonald's so much. If we got a McDonald's sponsorship, that's all Sam would ever want. She'd want free chicken McNuggets for life.
I was just going to ask, what's Sam's order?
Oh, her order is a cheeseburger or a Big Mac with no pickles, fries, a Coke, and it has to have sweet and sour sauce. If sweet and sour sauce is forgotten, she'll make me turn around and drive back to the McDonald's.
You know what? Wow. McDonald's sweet and sour sauce is like it's a different ball game. I don't know what it is. I hear you, Sam. I'm on the same page.
So I think just because of how much I love Sam, I would say for the health of our marriage, a McDonald's sponsorship.
There you go. That works. So I guess I mean, that answers that pretty good. That's one from left field too, right? You wouldn't expect that with all the things you do would be that.
That's a good question. That was a great question. Thank you, Shayna. Yeah. That was good.
This one here is from T-Tang Outdoors, who's been a supporter of us for a long time here. He says, when you come fishing to Saskatchewan, because there's lots of Manitoba, lots of Ontario. Right? Man. So when's Saskatchewan happening?
I know. That's a great question. I think in the next year or two, I might make more of a shift to doing longer style videos and doing smaller uploads. That's something that I find more fulfillment in, is doing like these film style videos. They're way more work. And maybe they don't favor the YouTube algorithm quite as much, but I just enjoy making them. I think it's a different type of storytelling compared to me going out for half a day and catching a couple fish. I think telling the story of a week. So I think like,
even just like the lake trouts, episodes that you just dropped, it was 8-9 day.
It was like trip? 10 or it was too long.
It was extended. It was extended, yeah.
Yeah,
but like even those 2 episodes, right? And it's over multiple days, and it brings in a couple different perspectives and scenarios from each different day. Yeah,
I like that style. Obviously living in Kenora, I don't always need to do that because it's tough leaving here too. It's just like, as much as I want to go fish Eagle Lake or Wabigoon or Lac Seul or Nipigon or Thunder Bay, it's just like you have to drive past so many lakes to get there. And it's interesting because now living in Kenora, I've realized that so many, this isn't a bad thing, so many people fish within a very close vicinity. They fish Lake of the Woods, they fish maybe a couple small lakes close. If you live in Manitoba or Saskatchewan, you do not have that luxury. You're driving 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours to go. Like, for people from Winnipeg, it's nothing to rip up to Clearwater for a weekend to go fish for lake trout. They'll go drive 6 hours. Yeah. And that's just a different mentality, which I've realized since living here. And I get it, because it's like, man, I could drive 10 hours to go to Last Mountain, or I could fish Lake of the Woods right here and sleep in my own bed at the end of the night. So that's the tough part too. All that being said, I love doing road trips. I love doing those big trips, and I'm sure some more fishing in Saskatchewan will be on the horizon. So I need to do some sort of like cross Canada tour, like DOS boat but ice fishing or something. I think would be good.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
I think the thing that's hard too. Anytime I've gone to Manitoba, I've done 2 trips now. I've done the Red River.
Yeah.
May have watched some of your videos multiple times to kind of get an idea what's going on there.
Match up shorelines.
Yeah, exactly. We took my boat, so I was lucky enough to be out in the boat for that. But and then just this August did Clearwater, Rocky Lake, that kind of thing. And every time that I've gone, like we're going to new places, yeah, lots of research and time on the water goes into it, right? But like I'm like, this is some of the most incredible fishing that I've ever done. Like I guess other than driving, like you said, 7 hours, whatever, up north. Like I could drive 6 hours to Clearwater, I think is what it is for us, or I could drive 7 hours and be north of the Ronge there and have great fishing, right? But it's kind of, I can see why people don't want to go too far when that is like right in your area there. Like you could go out, and if you just want to catch fish, you could. If I don't even know how far Selkirk is from Winnipeg. It's not too bad, right?
It's less than an hour. Yeah, it's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just the trap, right? But those big road trips are fun. Yeah, I'm gonna start heading north as soon as I see some colder forecasts. We'll see how far I have to go, but I'll just keep driving till I find ice as soon as it starts getting cold.
Yeah. Was the last time you would have been here was filming 39 hours? Like fishing wise, at least?
In Saskatchewan?
Yeah. Or did you film weren't you with the Conrad twins?
I filmed the Conrads. I'm trying to think if I fished there since. I might have gone back once since, but I probably would have been back to Wollaston since. I probably filmed the fly fishing film after 39 hours.
I was just going to say you probably did some fishing maybe while you were up filming that.
Yeah. But no, I don't have a great excuse. It's just I want to be everywhere. That's the problem. I want to,
No, for sure.
It's tough to juggle everything. This one comes from Lou Ran Outdoors, a local Saskatchewan guy here. He's wondering, are we going to get a 39 hours ice fishing competition ever?
I
the
think
question everyone asks.
that is a very common question that I'm trying to think what's a good answer. There's been lots of discussion about it. Like it gets talked about, and there's times where the discussion. Sorry?
It's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I wish people knew, but I also think that's why people appreciate it, is because it is a lot of work, and people can see that. There's times where discussions about a season 3 like spike, and then all of a sudden it doesn't get talked about for a while, and then we talk about it again. But yeah, there was talks about it, and then COVID kind of crushed all of it. So we'll see what happens. 39 hours ice, and I've had this discussion many times with Aaron. It would be logistically very tough. Not because the cold is much, but more so when you're fishing in a boat and you want to make a quick audible. If you want to switch from walleyes to pike to smallmouth to whatever you're doing, you can change your bait and boat over to the other shoreline and you're good. But ice fishing, it doesn't really work like that, unless like Lake of the Woods is unique. Lake of the Woods has a lot of stuff going on, so you could switch from perch to walleye to lake trout easily in an afternoon. If you go to Lake Winnipeg, you're pretty much fishing for greenback walleyes. Like that's it. If you go to Clearwater Lake, you're just targeting the lake trout. So all of a sudden, if you have 3 periods or whatever you're doing, 3 days of fishing, and you spend half a day late, like look at the lake trout tour. We caught 3 lake trout in 10 days of fishing. So it's just so tough. I think there's like ways that you could maybe split it into more days, but all of a sudden you're filming over a week, and logistically it just gets insane. So I mean, yeah, we're brainstorming if it would happen again, what could that look like? But I think
because it's season 2, right? You guys kind of split it up too, because season 1, like there was basically no sleep.
Season 1, right. And you know what? Season 2. This is a question I've gotten, is like, which was tougher, season 1 or season 2? Season 2 was tougher because we didn't sleep in those breaks. Like we had some sleep time, but it was more so travel time. So instead of it being a break to sleep, it was a break to travel. Yeah. So yeah, it instead of being 39 hours, it was more like 50 hours. Like we got some sleep in, But it was like, I remember the one drive when we went from, what was our last stop? We were fishing for rock bass or suckers somewhere in like near Lake of the Prairies. And then we drove up to the Paw through the night, and we were just zombies. Our cameraman had to drive for part of it, and it was just like borderline dangerous. And that's the reason why it's like, how do we do it differently next time? Do we hire drivers for every team? I mean, people like the sleepy, craziness, but it's like, you got to be safe about it too, right? So
Manny waking up in a ditch.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'd love to see a season 3 as much as anyone. I think the stars would have to align a little bit just with logistics. I think ice fishing would be tough. I think an ice fishing one could be amazing. Like, I think it could be a lot of fun, but just need to figure out what that looks like and how to pull that off in a way that it's not a flop. Because it's like, I think there's such an advantage to like a Manitoba team too compared to a Southern Ontario team. Like, Paul and Tara don't really have ice out there, right? And when they do have ice, it's like February they have ice on Simcoe, but then the ice might be gone the next week because it blows out. So it's
and February's not really too hot.
It's not ideal. It's not ideal for Manitoba, but it's more ideal for. So it's like, it's not like June, where June, when we've filmed the open water ones, has just been so good for everyone across the board. The days are long. It's easy to do stuff. It's warm. So yeah, it's something that I think about a lot and get questions about a lot, but I don't know. I'd like to think it would happen at some point, but
yeah,
it's tough to get. It's a lot of it's a lot of logistics.
Yeah, I think if it was able to go off, right, like obviously, like you said, you think it would be awesome, but like I think I've decided in the last couple of weeks that maybe it's because ice fishing is getting closer, but I think that's probably my favorite form of fishing. It would have to be some form of ice fishing. I love the summer too, but we always talk about like, okay, you're pulling the sled out, you're taking everything out, like there's so much more setup, right? Like if you're in a boat, you back that thing in, you can go fish for half an hour. If you're not getting what you want and you need to move, the boat's up and out of the water, you can be gone in 5 minutes, right? It's a bit different in the winter, so I think definitely a bigger challenge, but would be cool. But yeah, that challenge would be be pretty steep mountain there. But I think I asked one more here. It's kind of been one that's kind of been a theme. When you said you kind of wish people knew how long it took. Like, obviously 39 hours is a monster compared to lots of videos.
It was 1,000 hours of editing for our lead editor on the project, and then Aaron and I each probably put in 50 hours, 60 hours sort of thing. So it was like 1,100 hours. Like, our editor Nick on that project, I'm pretty sure he had mental health issues after that, and that's not really an exaggeration. Is like he was just fried after that project because he had to watch through every conversation, and that's something I would do different next time if there was a season 3, is I'd get each cameraman to edit their own team, because Nick wasn't sitting in the boat. I know what happened on my team, but like, imagine listening through 39 plus all the travel, let's say 50 hours of tarot rambling nonsense. Right? So it's just it wasn't, it worked, and I'm super proud of season 2. Right by the fly fishing film is one of the projects that I'm probably most proud of, how it turned out, and doing the finale and everything was super cool. But like, I would definitely do things differently next time from a producing standpoint. But yeah, that's it. Editing time, it's like the shooting stuff, once the cameraman's there and you're fishing, it's not too crazy, but it's just all the production stuff afterwards that you know.
And so I guess that was kind of the common theme of we'll take that one out. That's an outlier, we'll say, right, for your average. But what would you like? How many hours? We won't include the fishing because that's the part we enjoy. And editing can be fun too. But how many hours would you say on average you're putting into one of your typical YouTube videos?
If I'm fishing for, it's probably pretty close to a day of fishing as a day of editing. Probably pretty close. Maybe a little bit more editing than fishing, and it depends on the scope of the project. But yeah, if it's a full day of fishing, it's probably a full day of editing. It's and it depends how much work you want to put into it with music and color grading, all that stuff. You're always trying to get quicker. But I'm very fortunate that I have a guy that edits for me full time. Brandon, he's from Kenora, and he joined with me almost a year ago in November, and we probably edit half of them, or he'll edit a video until like 80%, and then I'll come in and do kind of some final tweaks sort of thing. So that saves me mentally, because like fishing isn't the mentally draining part, it's the editing more so.
Yep.
So just being able to have, and that's why, like, you know, a guy like Clayton who's doing all of his editing, it's like that takes a lot of brain power, and you know, you just want to make sure you don't burn out, because I did all my editing for a long time, right? And then it came to the point where it's like, if I want to keep doing this, just, you know, from a, not that I struggled with it like on a deep level, but just mentally, to have an editor helps free up a lot of my mental capacity for other things too, right? Yeah. For like, I love doing the catch and cook business and that other stuff, and if I'm editing, I can't do those other things. So I mean, I think when you start making videos, and this is a common thing, it's like, man, I'm the only one that can edit this project, I'm the only one that could understand the vision. But once you let other people edit it, it's like, okay, he can do a great job. Or like, the goal is that your editor becomes better at editing than you could, and you become better at shooting, right? Because it's the same way, like a Hollywood movie has a person that just does color, just does sound, another person just does graphics. Like in my office here, it's like I'm doing all of those things, so it's tough to become an expert at any one. You get okay at everything, but if you want to get the best project, like, or the best final product, like a MeatEater, for example, their shooters don't edit. You know, they have specific, and maybe there's crossover, but like, they have editors, they have shooters, they have sound design, they have all those people. They have people that just write scripts, and that's why the MeatEater scripts are so good, because before they go on a shoot, they have a script. So even if they don't catch a fish or shoot an animal, they're going to get a video, right? And that's what makes MeatEater so good. So I think, like, I kind of got on a tangent there, but editing's just a beast, and that's what scares people. I was just talking to Clayton about this, and it's like, how many people have GoPros and they film their fishing days, and that footage never leaves the micro SD card. You know, it just stays on it because they're like, I don't even know how to back this up, let alone edit it, you know. And then you do get to the point of editing it, and your computer isn't powerful enough, because editing takes more, you know, RAM and processing than anything else. So then all of a sudden you need to buy a new computer, and then it's like, okay, I don't have this much money to sink into a hobby, right? So that it is a lot easier barrier to entry than it used to be, but it's still like, you know, there's a reason why there's a lot more photographers than videographers, because photo's a lot less intimidating. Video, all of a sudden you're dealing with audio, and you're dealing with graphics and all that stuff. But
yeah, mine at least makes it off the SD and onto my hard drive, and then it sits there. No, for sure. I think that's the thing lots of people don't realize is, at least when I'm editing, I don't have a ton of experience with it. It's more just putting a couple clips together, right? But you're watching that stuff back. A minute that you're watching is a minute in real life, right? It's not like
I you know what, and this is something I do with YouTube videos too, and this is my little tip if you want to learn, and like, you're watching tutorials, I almost listen to everything in double speed, because people talk pretty slow on the average. So I'll watch everything in like, maybe not like an entertaining video, but if it's a tutorial or like a podcast or something, often I'll listen to a double speed. And same thing when I'm editing. If on your Adobe Premiere and you press L, it'll speed it up to twice as fast, and your brain can still process what they're saying or what I'm saying. So it helps, right?
Yeah.
Still, if you're editing 8 hours of footage, you're still listening through 4 hours.
Yeah. So that's where the time comes from. If people are wondering, that definitely takes up a lot. But Brandon, did you have any more?
On the YouTube topic, there's a few here kind of on the topic that we were still just talking about there. Logan Kosh, I want to say it is. He's wondering, any tips for someone that is wanting to get into fishing YouTube?
Jay's number one question.
Other than double speed during editing.
Double speed during editing, I would say, you know, I think you want to know. This one's tough because it's kind of morphed for me as well. But like, I think you should maybe know why you're doing it, why you want to make YouTube videos. Is it something that, you know, you maybe want to turn into a career possibly? I don't think that's the be all end all. I think the biggest thing is like, you have to be passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, why are you doing it? Obviously it sounds like he's passionate about it. He's asking about it. But then like, figure out what your niche is, you know? Because if you try to be the next Aaron Weeb or the next John B or the next Clayton Schick, you might get close, but you know, people are watching those people for a reason, right? And you need to be unique. Like, I know that I don't have the personality of Aaron. I totally get that. And you know, I enjoy the storytelling side. Not that Aaron's an amazing storyteller, but like I love the cinematography side. I know that that's maybe something that's a little more of a niche for me, is I love, doing stuff that way, turning it into a little more of a film sometimes. So I think, figure out what your thing is. Because I think if you try to do, pond bass fishing with the chesty, you're competing with the Guggen squad, right? And those guys kind of have the market. So, and they were the first ones to kind of do that daily vlogging style incorporated into fishing. And I know some people try to give them a hard time for, their rise to success, but it's like, no, they were doing stuff that people weren't. It's like, if it was that easy, everyone would have done it, but they were the first ones to do it. So like, huge props to them. And the reason that like Aaron is such a legend is because his ideas are so out there, and he will miss on 10 videos in a row to get one video, and people don't understand that. They just see the uploads. They're like, Aaron, upload more, upload more, upload more. And it's like, no, you don't get it. For every video he's getting, he's missing. You can't just catch 40-inch pike with a play button all the time, right? So Aaron is like, he's an artist. He's like, if there's a business to artist scale, he's like such an artist, and he doesn't want to put out something just for the sake of putting it out, which is admirable. But you also see those comments like, post. And it's like, well, he could post all the time, but you wouldn't get the same quality videos. Yeah, right?
Or people comment, why are you not catching any fish in this video or something like that, right? Like even like yours, you said that in the lake trout tour, you guys caught 3, right?
We caught more the first day, but like on the second part of the tour, it was like 6 days with catching a couple of trout. But in general, I think we caught, 8 trout in 10 days or something.
Yeah, but that's where your storytelling comes in, right?
That's where the story. I mean, that big fish. If we wouldn't have caught that big fish at the end, it would have been a very painful story. Not to spoil it for people that haven't watched it, but
Kevin saved it.
Kevin was the man. Yep. Yeah, like that was real emotion. Like that, that video, watching it back, I can just like, I get shivers thinking about that, because we worked so hard and we were ready to pull the pin, and we stayed one more day, and then he caught that fish. And I mean, Clearwater has a lot bigger fish. That wasn't a giant on Clearwater by any means, but it was, it made the video, right? So I think figure out what you want to do. Experiment too, because that's the thing about YouTube is like, I'm always experimenting with, I don't, maybe it doesn't seem like that, but I'm always trying to experiment with, what do people want to watch, and what do I want to make? Sometimes there's videos I make that I know will not get views. I know that hunting videos will not get views. That's not my demographic. I know the fly fishing videos on the average won't get good views on my channel. My demographic wants to watch walleye videos, and I like to make walleye videos, but I don't only want to make walleye videos, right? Just because walleye videos get the most views doesn't mean I want to only make walleye videos. So, that's the beauty of YouTube, is you can do whatever you want, right? And
I think that's the big thing too, is like you said, it's got to be something you want to do. Like, and I think the thing that people get kind of mixed up a bit is they see how well someone does, say like the whole Guggen squad down there, right? They're like, well, I want to get the notoriety, I want to be like them, right? Well, you can't really do it just for the purpose of getting the notoriety, right? Like we started this podcast, it wasn't to get a bunch of listeners, right? It was, we wanted to talk about fishing, or like you said,
we wanted to sit down and actually have a conversation with people like you that normally, if we didn't have a podcast, we probably wouldn't set up a Zoom call like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Yeah, you got to be passionate about it. And that's the same thing. Like, you're gonna hate video editing, but if you're passionate to make a YouTube video, you're just gonna learn it. I'm not passionate about video editing. I love the final product when it comes together, and I love the storytelling. I don't love staying up till 3 a.m, like trying to piece it together and cutting through all this footage. But there's moments of I love the whole process, right? And then like upload and then having this story, having a week condensed into 40 minutes or whatever. Like that's the cool stuff. But yeah, YouTube, I think I've heard from people like, one guy specifically, he would say all the time, oh, the YouTube fishing world's saturated. I'm like, no, it's not saturated. I'm like, there's not that many people doing it, especially in Canada. It's just like, I don't know. And
Canada's a
tap market.
Even in the States, it's just like, people, I don't know. I think if you want to do it, just go do it, because it's so easy to get caught up. It's easy to get caught up what other people are saying. If people like, it's saturated, why are you doing this? But then also it's like, it's so the problem with Instagram and YouTube is you're always comparing yourself to the biggest of the biggest. You know, you're comparing yourself to the people that have 700,000 followers or 200,000 followers or whatever, and it's like, you know, Aaron started Uncut Angling in 2011. That's 10 years already. He's dedicated his life to that, and people, you know, it doesn't. Even with the Googans, it didn't happen overnight. Yes, they rose quickly, but look how many videos they uploaded. Yeah. No matter what the quality of your video is, every time you upload, it's a lot of work. You know?
Yep.
Even if it's just a clip of you talking that you have one angle and you chop it up, that'll still take you 3-4 hours to put together. And like, look at Flair. Flair on YouTube, he's how many videos? Probably like 1,500. I'm just going to look because I'm curious.
Yeah. It's over 1,000.
Like, I can't even fathom that. He's got 600 million views, and I don't even know how many videos he has. I can't even find how many. Anyways.
I'm pretty sure
you
it's
probably
over
have to start
1,500.
archiving them. Yeah, no, like but that's kind of what you got to do, right? It's something that you like, and
yeah,
I think with the whole Canadian thing is you Manitoba boys have really you've been the explosion of it all for the most part, right? And
Aaron's the OG though. Like
for sure.
I mean, he did it when it was tough. Flair's 1,450 uploads, like, and he created his account in 2012.
Wow,
9 years ago. Yeah, that's mind-boggling.
Quick math.
So that's 3,200. So that's 3,200 in 3,200 days. He's uploaded 1,450 videos.
Just like it. Is that not every other day?
Like, I don't understand how that's possible. Is my math wrong? That's 9 years. 9 times 365. Yeah. So that's a video every other day for 9 years. That is, yeah, that doesn't even make sense.
And then people want to go and, and then people want to go and be like, oh, well, this, that, and the other thing. It's like, you can't deny that someone's worked for it. But what I was gonna say is, around here, you don't see a lot of stuff around here, and that's the one thing I kind of wanted to showcase with the podcast a bit. Like, I went out with Eve Bizen, who Josh has been sturgeon fishing with out in BC. Like, I was like, how's no one talked to him on any of these podcasts that I've listened to, right? Or like talking to Justin, even I guess John's been on a couple, but like talking to Lane Meyer and stuff like that, I think he'd been on one. But it's lots of people that haven't been heard from before that I think deserve to be heard from, right?
Oh, there's so many great fishermen.
Yeah, so no, I think that's a big part. But we've had you for an hour and a half already. Didn't seem like it's been that long, but did you have any more questions before I did some quick fire Zach questions here, Brandon?
There was one. This kind of leads back more to like the media side of thing, and we kind of touched on it a little bit. But Aaron Frum is his name, I think it is. He's curious. He said, you know, your videos are masterpieces. He said, how did Jay get so good at filming and editing?
Just
so like
a lot of failure.
Just a lot of failure, right? Yeah.
I
mean, I wanted to ask that just because that topic intrigues me as well. But,
like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you look at your YouTube channel and right, the whole color grading, the slow-mo aspect of it, like, you don't really see that on other fishing channels. Like, that's very niche-y to you.
I think I got my most inspiration on YouTube from non-fishing YouTube because, like, I don't know. That's what I love about YouTube. Like, some of my favorite content creators I don't watch that much fishing YouTube. I watch a little bit just to see what's going on, but I always make fun of fishing YouTube because I just think it's funny watching somebody fish. Like, I make fun of what I do for a living because I think it's so dorky, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But like Peter McKinnon, if you want to learn photo video, watch Peter McKinnon. He's a Canadian boy in a market that was so saturated, and he started making videos. He went from 0 to 1 million subs in 1 year or 9 months or something, and he did amazing slow-mo color grading. He's fun on camera, and that's someone that I wanted to try to emulate. I don't think I have the personality of Peter, but like I really tried to emulate the B-roll sequences and that sort of stuff because I'm like, that'd be cool to bring that to the fishing world. Not that stuff like that hadn't been done, but that's a style I wanted to emulate. And I mean, along the way, I've crashed 9 drones, and my color grading, I look back on some of my old videos, my color grading was disgusting, and I think it still needs so much work, but it's like, it's experimenting too. Like now
Yeah.
I like doing the voiceover and the film style on some videos. I don't do it all the time, but that was me just being like, you know what, I should just try narrating some of this and try a different style. And I didn't know, the first time I did that was a video I did when I went to the Yukon. And I'm like, you know what, instead of making 6 videos, I'm going to turn it into one. And that video ended up getting, you know, more views than, that was one of my most viewed videos, was experimenting. It was like, you know what, I have nothing riding on this trip. I'm going to try to make a film and see how it goes. And that was by taking a risk, obviously putting in a lot of work on that, but like the voiceover thing was cool and people seem to appreciate that style. So it's like, I've done it again since. And I want to try to do, you know, more stuff that's maybe a little more outside of the box. So yeah, it might flop, might do good, but I don't know. I like experimenting. I don't want to be just a guy sitting in the boat fishing. Like that's not what I want my channel to be known for, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
Totally fair.
I think you've done a great job of that so far. So, yeah, if you want to, we're not going to get through all these, so you might as well rapid fire some Zach Brown.
This will wrap it up here. We'll keep him happy with getting his questions out there, seeing as he is always asking us questions. He somehow knows every single person, it seems like, that we talk to, but or knows them in one way or another. But first one here, cats or dogs? I think we all know the answer.
I think that's, cats. If you follow me on Instagram, I love my cats. I don't mind dogs. I prefer like a well-trained dog. I've been around some dogs that are just complete disasters and weren't trained properly, and that has kind of not ruined dogs for me, but has bumped them down a little bit. Like I think cats are cool, and I think a well-trained dog is amazing, but I've been around dogs that have just been wild.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not doing a job of rapid fire.
No, that's okay. So then he asked, which cat is your favorite?
Oh, that's like picking your favorite child.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. We always say that like Judy's mine and Rudy is Sam's.
Okay.
But like
I feel like I see Judy so much more though.
Yeah, probably. She's a little more front and center.
Yeah. So then I guess going with the cat topic and like as you mentioned drones, he says, when can we expect Judy to go or no, that's the wrong one. When are you attaching a drone to Judy?
I don't know if my drone could lift Judy. I don't think so. If one of those big drones, maybe. That'd be pretty wild. She wouldn't like it though. She would just scream. So Rudy would be more chill with it, but he's kind of large, so I don't know how that would go.
Well, I guess because was it one of your drones that you pulled the char out of the hole with?
Yeah.
Okay.
We crashed it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's totally fair. And then this one, because you kind of alluded to it when you were talking about memories and videos. I wasn't going to ask it because I know you get asked it a lot on your Instagram ones, but he says, when is Baby J coming? I expect drone footage.
Drone footage of a baby. Oh, man. Yeah. I hope Sam and I can have kids one day. We've talked about it, and Lord willing, we'll have a Baby J one day. But we'll see when it comes.
Okay.
With pearly whites.
Yeah. And then the last one here to end it all off ties into what would have been, I guess, our previous episodes with Josh. Is he asked, what is the hardest part about working with Josh?
The hardest part about working with Josh. He's not a morning person. Josh is not a morning person. I'm not a morning person either. He's less of a morning person. And I think Josh and I just have so many things on the go that it's sometimes tough to to link up, living a couple hours apart and everything. So ideally Josh and I would just live together. He'd move into the spare bedroom and move his whole family in, and then we could really start working on some catch and cook stuff. But
there you go. No.
Yeah. Catch and Cook is going to be at the Winnipeg Ice Show, but I guess this video is going to show this podcast is going to be after the ice show.
Well, if you want to plug it, we could put it on socials beforehand as well. If you want to say what you're going to be there with, we could take a little clip of that too. But because that was one of the questions, what products are you going to be there with? What
products? Well, we're unveiling a new product at the Winnipeg Ice Show. We're going to be at the Frostbite booth. So Frostbite's unveiling a bunch of new rods actually, and we're going to have some catch and cook. We're releasing beer batter. So we got the original spicy and beer batter now. And you'll be able to buy it at the show. So if people are at the ice show, I'll be hanging around Frostbite booth a little bit. I'll be at the Travel Manitoba booth, but it's going to be a good time. I haven't been to a trade show in 3 years probably. So it'll be fun. I've never been to an ice fishing show before, so it should be good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's been canceled for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe it went
1 year and then I didn't go to the year before. So it'll be good. They're most of the Frostbite guys, I think Aaron's going to be there. Alex is going to be there. Joe Cooper is going to be there. Justin's going to be there. Justin Jenkin, Clayton. I'll be at the Frostbite booth. It'll be hopping. It'll be buzzing. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, Brandon sent me a post of it, and I was just, no context, sends me a post of it, and I was like, well, we've seen about this. We talked with Josh about it, and I was like, what's this for? He's like, do you want to go? And I was like, well, take a nice weekend Warriors trip to go there, but we'll have to see if that ends up panning out. But
that's not too far. 6 hours for you guys? 5 hours?
No, it's not bad. Not bad at all.
5.5, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Not too bad, but yeah.
You could do a day trip. The show starts at 10 and ends at 5. You could do one really big day. Leave at midnight. Get back at midnight.
Yeah, it'd be like doing a fishing trip, honestly.
Yeah.
Done it before, so it wouldn't be too bad. Sweet. Well,
yeah,
I guess you got this, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, we really appreciate you taking the time.
No problem.
Obviously know that you're a busy guy. You got lots on the go. Kind of like you mentioned, you would rather do it now than later before ice fishing season kicks off. Like, obviously, you're gonna have a lot of stuff on the go, getting a lot of content out and produced, and obviously everything rolling out with Catch and Cook. So we really, really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us.
It was good chatting.
And sharing some experiences and some details with the listeners.
You'll do it again sometime.
We should we'll have it all in the show notes below, but we should get you any of your socials, whether it's Thrive, Catch Cook, anything like that. Where can everyone find you?
You know what? Probably if you go to jsiemens.com, you can kind of find everything there. Yeah, you can find YouTube, you can find some links to Catch and Cook and Instagram, all that good stuff. So
there you go.
I'm working on my TikTok game. That's where my focus is building up my TikTok. So